Welcome back, TTS Daily Wednesday edition with me, Yi. It's been a while, I know. Yi suddenly decided to take another extended period of time of break. Well, things happen in life and you gotta deal with them. And until the channel is sustainable on its own, we have to deal with other matters in life that, sustains us. So let's kick things off. Today is Heartbreak Edition. We have two stories about how couples and how they deal with fidelity and spotlight on Singapore. No couple story there, but we have something about heartbreakers in Hostess Club. Okay, let's kick things off. Heartbreak Edition, China Edition. This story went viral in China when a woman discovered her husband's affair with none other than her own best friend. So the poor lady is Miss Ran, and she realized her husband has been with her best friend for an extended period of time, her best friend being Miss Liu. And in this period of time, her husband actually transferred over 600,000 yuan to the friend, her best friend. 600,000 yuan is roughly 84,000 USD. And after being, caught, the husband later filed for divorce, but the poor wife is still trying to preserve her marriage, even though her husband has been caught being unloyal to her. So what she did was she actually sued the friend to recover the marital assets, because the money that the husband transferred over 600,000 yuan is considered as marital assets, and the court actually ruled the friend, her ex-best friend now, must return over 600,000 yuan, which was sent by her husband without spousal consent. So now this news is very viral, okay? It's been shared since December 1st, 2025 in China. The couple, Miss Ren and her husband, married for over 24 years, started with nothing in Chongqing, finally have a happy life with 2 children. Everything looks good on the surface until she discovered, like we mentioned, husband, why can't husbands just, be happy? Why can't best friends just be happy for your best friend? No, don't. Okay, anyway, the Miss Ren discovered the husband has been fooling around with her own best friend. And the husband has been sending transfers over to her best friend. You can see some of the bank accounts here, and some of the figures they use is like 5,200 and also 1,314. In case you guys don't know, 520 in China, slang-wise, the way the Chinese numbers are read out, 520, some dialects, 512 actually meant I love you. And then 1314 actually means 一生一世, which means one whole lifetime. So, and if you to see the transfer, one of them was even sent like at 6 p.m. on Valentine's Day. The husband is sending sums to his lover, who is her best friend, for extended period of time. And then she now claims that the husband contributed little to family expenses and she covered the house mortgage and the car mortgage all by herself. But despite all this, Miss Ran still wants to reconcile with her husband, though the husband is still looking for a divorce. So the main gist you need to take from this story is be careful if your spouse are getting too close with your best friends, okay? Take note of that. And then if you are a spouse, have some dignity and don't eat where you More Heartbreak Edition, still in China, this time a female food delivery worker. As you know, the food delivery industry in China is super competitive, nothing like what I've read so far compared to like what we have locally here in Singapore. So it's like if you deliver food late in China, you get penalized. You have to pay a fine. The delivery driver has to pay a fine if they deliver food late. And the problem about delivering food in China is that when you want to deliver food to an apartment, usually the first hurdle is the security department. The security guard would most likely, ask a lot of questions. Where are you sending it to? And if you want to leave the food at a reception, sometimes the security would say, no, you may not leave the food at a reception. So you have to send it all the way up, and then you have to dial to the house, ask the person, hi, I have a food delivery for you, can I please send it up quickly for you, because I have a time, I have a delivery schedule to adhere to, and if I'm late I get penalized. And sometimes even the customers who order food from the delivery platforms aren't exactly that kind to the delivery workers themselves. So now, back to the story, the female food delivery worker has been which is pretty common, if you read the stories online about China food delivery workers by both the customer and the security of that building. So it happened in the Jinan city, China on 29 November 2025. Fresh story. The lady Qi, food delivery rider, as I'm saying, this is a very competitive industry in China itself. If you lose your job here, it's pretty hard to find another one because it's very competitive, and she's just a single mother raising a child. So you can imagine, because they are so frightened to be late in delivering food. Sometimes when they ride really fast, and that could, lead to certain safety issues that they might have been blindsided to. Anyway, TC arrived at the building during lunchtime break with several orders, and she phoned one of the customers requesting to leave the food at the reception because she'll be fined for overtime for being late. She has many other orders. It's lunch hour, right? So the customer replied, "No, do not leave at the reception. Wait for me to come down. I don't care if you're gonna be late, nothing to do with me. As stated on the app application itself, I have stated that you have to deliver the food to me and not leave it at the reception. So you just wait there and I'll come down in 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, it is the customers. She is at the customer's mercy, okay? And the customer didn't even let TC finish her sentence or reasoning, and the customer just hang up the phone. So at this point, TC saw the gate was slightly open, and the guard, didn't really ask her any questions, so she just stepped in, which then the guard rudely asked her, "What are you doing? Why do you step in without even declaring your purpose?" Now TC is caught in an awkward position. She bowed and apologized to the guard, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm in a rush. I have many orders to deliver today. It's lunch hour." And the guard, is really arrogant, saying that, and the guard is taunting her, saying, "You could have just rejected this order if you cannot make it in time for other orders. Why are you taking up so many food delivery orders?" As sometimes they are taking many delivery orders because they are earning commission based. The more delivery trips you make, not late, the more money you earn. And TC got provoked here and asked, "Are you all always so arrogant?" Trying to imply is this whole building, the way people, it's do you treat service staff so coldly? Because she was just treated so coldly by the customer that she called, right? The customer insisting that she has to wait for the customer to come down instead of leaving food at the reception. And now the guard also, replied back, "Yes, we are that arrogant." And this time, the customer that she called earlier finally came down, and seeing that the food was left near the reception for him, the customer got a bit annoyed and asked TC, "Hey, hand me over the food. I'm not gonna walk over that few steps to collect that food that you placed there, okay? I want you to pick up the food that I have ordered and hand it to me directly." So TC was she's probably in a state where she's probably fed up. She just told the customer, "Take it or leave it, I'm leaving here, I'm late for the other orders." She turned tail and ran. And as she ran, turned past the building, she stopped there and she cried. And then she shared this story online, which became viral. And now netizens are some netizens, if you scroll enough of Chinese delivery stories, you know that the food delivery industry in China is really, really competitive and tough. And yeah, these service staff are really, they're taking a lot of brunt of customers' grievances, and how security guards treating them so coldly. And obviously netizens are more up in raw over the internal notice, which instead of, coming out to clarify and apologizing, building management coming out to apologize for how their employee were behaving coldly to the delivery workers and the security guards, instead they're just saying, "Be warned, some food delivery riders may use you as content." Heartbreak edition, Indonesia edition. Now we're at a hotel where a graduation ceremony is taking place, and people are putting this kind of, congratulatory billboard messages outside the ballroom, outside the hotel. It is a custom in Indonesia, during wedding, grand openings, graduation, birthday celebration, they send this kind of, congratulatory messages in the form of billboards with flowers adorned on them. But they are actually congratulatory messages, okay? So, and then there was two being posted here at this graduation ceremony, where the student in question, Miss Yani right here, a graduating student who is accused of being a mistress, So the first one right here, it says, the first billboard outside the hotel says, Master of Management, Mistress with Legs Spread. Pretty unkind words here, and that board drew guest attention. People started sharing pictures of it online, and it went viral until they saw there was a second billboard outside the ballroom, this time with a longer message saying like, someone who has been sleeping with someone else's husband, even had a child, and so forth. And even noting there, no need to insult her because she is already disgraced. This message went viral, and this picture was shared all over the interwebs. And then came the viral video where the wife now can be seen filming the accused as she was walking. You can see she was like walking to one side trying to avoid the camera. Probably the accused, we can assume, is Miss Yani right here, trying to avoid the cameraman or camera person who is a lawful wife of the husband who is allegedly having an affair with this accused Miss Yani right here. So the lawful wife confronted Yani, can be seen in the video. She's pulling her back, saying how this woman has no shame, graduating while taking someone else's husband. So as the wife kept pulling Yani back, the confrontation got really tense, and people have to come in to stop the confrontation, and this is now really viral on the interweb, with netizens actually split into two camps. One supported the lawful wife for confronting the alleged mistress, while the other half is actually criticizing the lawful wife for doing the confrontation during a graduation ceremony, because that is actually taking away focus from the other graduates who are actually supposed to be celebrating their day, their graduation ceremony. So comments include, pity the other graduates, their moment was ruined. If you want to confront her, don't do it in a sacred event like this. Spare a thought for the graduates. Graduation is not the place for household drama. Breaking news, heartbreaking news, Singapore edition. For regulars of hostess clubs or host clubs, take note your favourite hostess or host that is a foreign talent might have their work permit cancelled for good, and they might find it difficult to come back to Singapore to host you. Okay, because Singapore's Ministry of Manpower will be terminating the 17-year-old work permit performing artist scheme effective June 1st, 2026. Because apparently syndicates have been this artist work permit scheme where all these foreign performers are supposed to come to Singapore on short-term work permits supposedly to perform, but instead they have been redeployed as hostesses instead. So now with that, so take note, if your favorite hostess or host is a foreign talent, their current work permit will end next year, and not sure how are you guys gonna keep on being hosted by them. There is a silver lining in this. That means the hostess/host industry in Singapore is looking for local talents now. For people who are always complaining, oh no, this industry has so much foreign talent, how am I gonna find a job here? Don't worry. The hostess/host industry is looking for local talents now. This might be the golden opportunity that all of you are seeking for. A 6-year-old unemployed woman has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. So basically, she threw spray cans and pottery-like objects, including a piggy bank and a vase, from her 10th floor apartment balcony. Literally, killer litter. Objects were thrown by her.